Hello, welcome back to our wrap-up of Season 3. And I'm here with my friends and colleagues.
David Kennedy.
And Red Keating.
I'm Julie Brown. So guys, it's just the three of us, and we just wanted to take a short little bit of time to pay tribute to our guests this season, the topics we covered, some shout outs to the people that support this podcast and give us feedback and make it all happen. So please stay with us as we just take a little bit of time to summarize what this season has meant for us. So to get us started, David, there is a very loyal listener. We get the most thoughtful summaries and insights from her. And so let's begin by giving a shout out to her.
Yes, and what a pleasure and an honor it is to do that. And this is a friend that I've made over the years of Millie Craig. And Millie lives in Brockville. She has it's true what you say. As soon as a podcast is released, usually within 24 hours, I will get her comments and her summaries. And Millie is just one of these wonderful people. And I won't tell her age, but let me tell you, she's over 90 and lives on her own, still drives, and her mind is sharp. And she has been a nurse in her life and a very well-respected nurse. And I'm just so thankful that she is a friend of the podcast. And I appreciate, we all do, Millie. Thank you so much for your thoughtful comments on every podcast that we've made.
We read them all, Millie. Thank you.
Yeah, they are very thoughtful.
They are.
Yeah. She clearly takes the time.
We just want to give a shout out to a few other people who have taken some time to give us really meaningful feedback. Shout out to Brad in Utah, who lost his wife a while ago and has been finding support in the podcast. Thanks, Brad. Christine, who wrote to us about the meaning of the Maid episodes and how they've supported her.
Kathy McMillan Jones wrote a nice letter to us after the I'm So Angry podcast, thanking us for our sort of insights and natural conversation on the topic. So that was nice to see. So thank you, Kathy. I want to take a minute to, it's Catherine. It's another Kathy, but it's Catherine, Christopher Roden's wife. I emailed him after the podcast, and she used a bit of that email in the last post that she did on Chris's site. And then she wrote me a really nice letter thanking us. So I want to thank her very much for letting us have a bit of Chris's time. It was precious time at the end, and I thanked her for sharing him with us.
Yeah, so lovely.
Yeah.
Ryan from San Diego, California, who gave us some very thoughtful feedback and also made a recommendation of a guest for the future. So stay tuned, listeners, around that. And I know we all receive texts from people. I have some really, really supportive friends who listen, and when an episode moves them or, will write to me, or they write and they say, I've sent it on to so-and-so and it was helpful for them. And so I just really want to thank all those people who reach out to me individually.
And there's so many people that I meet, out and about, and they'll stop me and say, "Oh, we listened to your podcast, and thank you so much." And it's just helpful to know that and that was the whole purpose of why we're doing this, is simply that it can be a resource and help people who may not have access to other means of support for what they are facing, whether that is their palliative journey or their grief journey.
It's nice to know people are listening. And I mean, I walk into hospice and I'll have people that I don't know come up and say, "Are you Red?" And I'll say, "Yeah." "Oh, we listen to your podcast. It's lovely." And that's so kind and nice when people come up and do that. So we really appreciate it.
We get a lot of support from our Hospice Peterborough volunteers.
Definitely. And staff.
And staff, for sure. I want to just pause for a moment, and I am so aware that when I comment on things in the episodes that our guests are sharing with us, that so much of the information I have to offer back comes from my clients and what they have taught me.
Mhm.
And I obviously I can't identify any of them specifically, but they know who they are. And I know I have many clients who listen to the podcast, not because I tell them they have to, but they choose to. And I just want to thank them because it's their courage to come and seek support and to be open and vulnerable in their sharing. I learn with them,
Mhm.
and hopefully I become better at what I do as a human, as a therapist, doing this podcast. And so I want to just take a moment and honor them.
And I certainly echo that, Julie. That, and I've said that so many times that really what I have learned in this field of grief and palliative care has primarily come from the people who have, as you say, with courage, have been vulnerable and opened up, and I have shared that journey with them. And it's humbling. It really is. And I'm so grateful for them.
Yeah.
So I know each of us took a little bit of time before coming on to this recording today to just review like the season that we had. And I'm just going to throw it out to both of you. What stands out for you this season? I mean, I there's really so much, and we could actually like just go in like episode by episode, but we're not going to do that because we want people to actually listen to this brief episode until the end. Thoughts. What stands out?
I was shocked at how many episodes we recorded this year. I mean, 18 episodes, and so when we went back to the first episode of this season was Dr. Kerr, and I went, that felt like so long ago. And so I think I was really shocked at how many interesting and courageous and really lovely people that came and had a conversation with us. I was just kept going, oh my God. Oh yes. As I looked through the list, and I couldn't believe how many people have sort of volunteered their time, come forward and sort of graciously shared whatever it was that they needed to share, had to share with us. It's funny. I would have sworn some of this was from a year past.
And I love the fact, as I reflected too, of the great mix of people that have joined us, and people who are professional, people, authors who have studied and written books, and yet people who are experiencing this journey in some way, who have wonderfully and courageously shared their experiences. And I think that's, for me, it's that mix of both the people who are wonderfully gifted and talented and studied and have this incredible insight, and then it's the ability for people who are experiencing things to be able to come on and share their experience with us, and to have that there is wonderful. And of course, the times when we do get together, the three of us, I always love our conversations too. I always appreciate both of you have such wonderful wealth of information, and I think it's a good mix for this past season.
Mm-hmm.
I think about, you were talking about some of the more maybe academic or professional people. I'm always surprised. No, I shouldn't be. How genuinely nice they are, and how really human, and how easy it is to connect and have those conversations with people that I kind of go, well, my gosh, you're at a level above or whatever. Like I'm shocked at how really down to earth, and maybe and again I shouldn't be shocked how down to earth they really are. And for the folks that are coming to us with their personal experiences, just how humbling that is to share that conversation with them, and to be in their presence, and to really just sort of witness their story and what they've gone through. Is as you said, Julie, we learn, but I think I'm really humbled by that.
Yeah. And of course, to your point, Red, what our listeners wouldn't get to hear is some of the conversation that happens pre and post. And so sometimes, just for a little bit of context, like people are coming on screen. Most of our guests we've never met before. Often I have emailed with them, but they don't know us. We don't know them. They come on screen. We have a few minutes, and often right away, we're kibitzing. It's warm. And almost without fail, after we stop recording and, we're thanking them and appreciative, they're thanking us and saying how much they enjoyed it. Many of our guests have said they'd love to come to Peterborough. They'd love to we've said, oh, we'd love to have you or host you or have you speak with our community. So yeah, absolutely. These have felt like very genuinely warm interactions. And of course, this year we were also lucky enough that we had Dr. Mary Catherine McDonald and Dr. Beamish and Dr. Mary Frances O'Connor, who are all repeat guests. And so there's also just this nice feeling of they come and we're like, oh, we're kind of starting to get to know each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bridging time and space.
Sort of a strange, I don't know, outcrop, something you didn't expect, strange occurrence that you can feel like, wow, we're developing colleagues in a way that I hadn't anticipated that this work would do. So, and they're so generous with their time.
I was just going to say that on a personal level too, I must admit that there are a couple of those that have genuinely impacted me in a way that it keeps coming up and up and up. And of course, I think of Sheldon Solomon and the terror management theory. And of course, you said that, Red, once you hear it, you see it everywhere. And that's been my experience too, both with that one and then the other one on the grieving brain and the grieving body, because of the newness of the approach, I think that helps. And so you find yourself, saying, wow, I can put this into practice. This is something that I can use in a way that is helpful for others and myself. So it's been wonderful to have a learning experience on a personal level in these podcasts. And it stays with you, at least with me, it does, for sure.
Yeah, I must say that conversation with Sheldon was a bit of a career high for me.
I know.
I really appreciated that, and I still can't believe we were able to do that. And again, he was so kind with his time.
Totally, and he wants to come back, and we're gonna bring him back.
Get him to talk about awe and humility and gratitude.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you guys don't know what's coming, but I warned you that I was going to spring something on you in this episode. So I thought what we would do is a little lightning round as a way to sum up. And the lightning round is meant to just whatever comes to mind. I'm gonna throw some questions out, and each one of us will answer. And of course, there's no right or wrong answer, right? All right. So here's your first question. Julie. Here's your first question. What guest from this season would you most like to go for a beer with?
And no surprise after what I just said, it would be Sheldon Solomon for me.
Yeah.
Just because I think he'd be a great guy to have a beer with.
Totally.
He's one of those guys that I would love that conversation.
I would concur. I think Dr. Beamish is a good guy to have a beer with too, but but we can have a beer with him. that wouldn't be so hard. But yeah, I would agree with you. David Sheldon was a big one.
Well, I'm going to say, just because I knew you guys would say Sheldon, so we got him covered. I was going to say Dr. Christopher Kerr, because he actually said to us after we finished recording, I'd love to come to Peterborough and go out for a beer with you guys. Yes. So he's going to be
I just got the feeling from him he could drink us under the table. And have a fun time doing it.
Okay, here's next question. An episode that you hope listeners would consider going back and listening to again and again. So one of the things with podcasts that sometimes, I don't want to say concerns me, but I'm aware of is sometimes we consume them like they're just this moment in time. And then we just go on to the next one and the next one. But you know how a good book, sometimes you want to go back and you want to read it again, or you want to go through chapters. And so what episode, one or two episodes, you go don't miss out on that one, or you know what, give it a few months and go back and listen to it again?
I would encourage people to listen to the Christopher Rodin episode more than once
Yeah.
because there are so many things you can hear second and third time through. I've listened to it 3 times. And each time there's something that I need to hear in that. And I think it's more, I don't know how to explain it. It's more than information. It
know.
really is the heart of our humanity. And so for me, that's one that I would certainly encourage people to listen to more than once.
No, I so feel that, David. Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes, like you said, listen to it 3 times. When you're recording, you don't really hear it. And I went back and listened to that one and just went, wow, there was some significance and power to that one and some real humanity. And he really brought us into a place of love, I thought. I would also maybe suggest that people go back. I really enjoyed our conversation with Dr. Beamish. He has so many good insights. And I really enjoyed the conversation with finding joy and finding those things that we do that can take joy away from us, those joy thieves, and listening to that in terms of really sort of assessing what am I doing in my life and sort of not want to say analyzing, but really paying attention to how joy and the thoughts that we're doing might be stealing that from us. I think that's another one to go back and hear again.
Yeah. I'm with you. That was going to be one of mine. And I know it's a practice I'm trying to implement in my life, finding the tiny little joys. And I also, want to encourage that because I know when we're in hard places, joy doesn't seem very accessible to us.
Right.
So I know that might have been a hard episode for some people, and it is something that's a practice. And so going back to it a few times, and she, of course, has such a brilliant, wise way of holding the dark and the light.
And I think her book is out in a week too, coming out next week, I believe.
Yep. Okay. 2 more quick questions of our lightning round. I don't know if it's lightning, but it's
slow lightning. Dim light bulb.
Okay. David, a new wisdom or learning from one of the episodes this season that you've heard yourself repeating to others or thinking about many times since. So like a little nugget or something. Maybe it's not even new, but just something that just has really stayed with you.
Yes, the episode that Megan Riordan Jordan did with us, where I think what came through really strong, something we know, but I will continue to be repeated often, is the whole idea that grief is something that doesn't need to be fixed, and that grief is a very natural and normal response that doesn't need a pathology approach to dealing with it. And I mean, that came through in many of our guests. Certainly Mary Catherine said that as well. But I think she was, and in her book, made some very practical pieces around how do we deal with this without pathologizing it and making it something that we have to see as fixable.
Yeah. Yeah, I so love that, David, because she kept saying it's just a developmental phase. Grief is a developmental phase. Right? Yeah.
Okay. That was mine. Grief is a developmental phase. Yeah. And when you say that to people and they hear it, and it's a little shocking, I think, to hear it at first, but it's like, yeah, this is a time of learning. You are moving through a very difficult time, but you are transforming. And that whole concept that I think when we were talking with Mary Frances about moving from we to a me, or an us to an I, that developmental sort of evolution back to being a single. So that was the one I was going to say too. Yeah, it's a developmental phase.
One of the things that has stood out for me is also from Megan Riordan Jarvis's book. And when we interviewed her, was asking people about what's their secret terror since they've lost their loved one. Right. Just reminding us of that idea that our grief becomes kind of blankets our whole life. It's not just the grief of losing the person we have, but it's just such a natural experience to start worrying about
Yeah.
our own death, about the death of somebody else, about other bad things happening in their life. It's just that activation of the nervous system where there's just danger everywhere, and we're on the lookout for it. And I see that all the time, but I just love the way she worded that. What's your secret terror since you've lost your loved one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked that to someone once, and their partner had died, and their children are not small children, but in their 20s. And the response was, "Now I can't die." And I went, "Wow, my fear now is that what happens if I die?" And they said, "I know that's going to happen, but I mean, like soon, like shortly after. Not if I live to be a ripe old age, that's a different thing. But it's just like right now, I have to be so careful I can't die." And I went, wow, I don't know if we would have gotten that if that question hadn't come up. That's a good one, Julie. Yeah.
Okay, so last question of our lightning round. So what's a couple words, 1, 2, 3 words that describes this season for you, and just in terms of how it's felt for you? And Red, because you are a music aficionado, if you want to quote a song that encapsulates this season for you, that's fine too.
That's too much on the spot.
Okay.
But I would say this was probably for me the most emotional season.
Yeah.
I know that there were times when we were recording where it just stopped and tears came to eyes, like in Harrison's story.
I know.
When we were talking with Sharon McLeod about her son who died by suicide. Certainly Chris's episode, a lot of tears, a lot of really, and the tears were coming from that. I think that sense of honestly heartfelt, deeply genuine human connection, and yes, suffering, but love. So that's a lot of words. It's not 1 or 2 words, but certainly I found this to be an emotional season. It had highs and lows.
David?
Awe, humility, gratitude.
Yep.
Awe, and like as you said, Red, awe at the connections that I experienced, and I know we all did in those podcasts, with Shannon McKinnon, with the Burrells, with
I know.
with the stories that you cannot talk about without the human connections, and so that awe, but it genuinely led me to a place of gratitude, humility and gratitude that I'm thankful for. I'm deeply gratitude and thankful for.
Julie?
I love your words, but I'm just going to throw one other one is like soulful, because of the same things you're both saying. Is like just those moments where, as you said, Red, it's like we sat in silence, or where we, tears in eyes, tears down cheeks, tears, the gratitude, the wow, this was so meaningful, these conversations. So soulful. Yeah.
And it's amazing how many times since our conversation with Sheldon that the themes of awe or wonder and humility and gratitude have sort of crossed the windshield of my car, kind of, or have just been in my space. Those themes, that what I would say is probably one of the themes of this year, are those 3 kinds of concepts of awe and wonder, humility and gratitude. Yeah. And Julie, I'm thankful for you, because this wouldn't happen without you. You are
absolutely.
You keep David and I organized and in line, and you do all the guest work and all of that booking. We need a booking agent. You do all the booking and all the reaching out. So our gratitude to you.
Absolutely. You notice, Red, that you and I didn't come up with a lightning round.
No, we just did.
We might have had the thunder.
The turtle
But,
round.
but no, I am so appreciative too. I want to say, Julie, this would not happen without you. So thank you so much. And for Kevin, it has been such an addition to have Kevin involved in this that kind of makes up for all our goofiness and our mistakes. And it's just so thankful to have him aboard, and for hospice to allow us to do that.
Right.
Exactly.
So, and the support we get from hospice and Hoyne and others that, and certainly Amy, who has just been terrific. So lots of wonderful people who have made this happen.
Yeah.
Yes. So shout out to Kevin Fleming and all of the Hospice Peterborough folks that, stand invisible behind this podcast, but make it possible.
Yeah. But support it to happen.
Yeah. So yay, team.
We got another one coming up too, right? Like this isn't the end of the end.
No.
So we're planning some good stuff here.
We are. So go back and listen to some of our episodes, especially, some of our repeat guests. Like you might want to go back and listen to some of them. Please send along to your friends and family, because as we were saying earlier, our greatest hope is that this serves and supports people on the journey. And until season 4, which will launch sometime in September, just know that we're already busy on our schedule. And you guys don't know this, but I'm already, your booking agent is already in full swing.
Yep.
And thanks, What Now listeners. We'll talk to you in September.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to What Now on the threshold of life, death, and grief. What Now is produced in partnership with Hospice Peterborough, dedicated to providing compassionate care and support to individuals and families facing life-limiting illness and loss. What Now is recorded at Thin Spaces Studio in Peterborough, Ontario. Special thanks to Paradise Garage for providing the music. Technical support is by Sean Heichert, and audio engineering by Kevin Fleming. More episodes of What Now are available for free on most major podcast platforms. If you found value in our conversations, please support us by following the show, leaving a 5-star review, and sharing with your friends and loved ones. If you'd like to support the essential work of Hospice Peterborough, please consider visiting hospicepeterborough.org/donate. Your contribution helps us continue to provide vital care and support. Until next time, may you find peace and comfort on your journey.